Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and for today's review, I'm going to talk about Jon Foreman's recent release, Departures, which came out on February 12th. This is his second full-length album with this solo project, and I decided to check it out because I loved listening to Jon when he was playing with Switchfoot, especially from his masterpiece of an album, A Beautiful Letdown, which had also introduced me to Switchfoot. This review is going to be a little different than the last couple ones I've done, because I felt like I wasn't going to be doing this album justice just talking about one song. So throughout this review, I'm going to talk about the whole album and each song in general, which one is my favorite, and why. There's a good bit to cover here, so let's dive into Departures. So just to cover a brief history about Jon Foreman, just on the music side, I'm not going to delve into any of the personal stuff, but he's the main songwriter, musician. He's done a good amount of guitar work, though he has done other musical contributions, and vocalist for the alt-rock band Switchfoot, though he has done a good amount of side projects and EPs over the last decade. According to an article I found by Macy Bennett at AmericanSongwriter.com, it seems like writing songs and doing albums like this one makes him feel like he's in a safe place and allows him to talk about things like God, politics, girls, sex, without fear. In essence, he feels like he's in a safe place despite the trials and tribulations that life will throw at you, as well as given what's gone on last year with the pandemic. Although Switchfoot is still around, and they have done some live streaming events, it seems like this album was a good substitute to pass the time, since they can't go around the world and tour. As I mentioned earlier, this album was released on February 12th, and the song and hit single Education helped propel it into the mainstream, whereas it enjoyed a good amount of success so far. In terms of picking a genre, it's pretty hard to pin one on this album because you get a good mixture of country. There's a good bit of rock music, but not like the Switchfoot kind that we've grown accustomed to. Gospel in terms of the song titles and lyrics. And there was a good use of synthesizers to make orchestral sounds like cello, violin, viola, and band sounds like a trumpet. So there's a good bit of diversity in terms of sounds and moods on this album. I should mention that it seemed like the drums in like every song was like MIDI edited in because they seemed like really toned down and there wasn't a whole lot of punch to them. To me, it seemed more like a blend of like the hip hop and R&B beat that you would normally hear on those kind of albums. Not saying that it's bad, but I'm used to like hearing that kind of punch on an album because I'm just so used to it. Now we turn to the songs themselves. The first one off the album is The Ocean Beyond the Sea. And let me just sum it up for you. If you were to put the song into a cinematic trailer, it would make it so badass that pretty much that movie alone would just get an Academy Award just from the trailer alone. It had a good amount of orchestral and band background noise, and there was a subtle tension that Jon's singing and the music itself just build over the course of the song. There's not really any rock music in it, but it did make for a killer opener. It basically was like telling a story with a beginning, middle, then a climax, and then there was a swift end. It was definitely a good way to open this album. The next song was Education, and this was the song that I mentioned that brought this album to the forefront. It struck me as a song that could be on like a country album from like one of the big shots, but it had like an underlying rock tone to it. The song itself seemed to delve into Jon's personal life as a teenager and the innocence that steered him then. A bit more on the lyrics in a little bit. He did make a music video for it, so I'm going to leave that in the description below. The third song is Side by Side featuring Madison Cunningham, and it's more of an acoustic song with a powerful message about the weight of identity. You really hear Jon and Madison shine during the choruses of the song, and it really gives us different perspectives about the journeys we have with our partners, trying to be respectful there, both in life and death. The next one is A Place Called Earth, and this one is featuring Lauren Daigle, I think that's how you pronounce her name. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. I'm sorry, guys. But this one was another powerful song, which to me seemed to be about finding peace on Earth. I'm not sure if I'm interpreting it right, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Regardless, Lauren really had a much more prominent role in this song. The song is pretty touching too, so make sure you have those tissues ready, especially for those manly tears. They just really flowed together, and it just really adds to the power of this song. I can't say enough about this song. Red and Gold, the next one. And this one seemed to have another powerful message about faith. About like midway through the song, it seemed like Jon incorporated a guitar solo. That was like a real crazy one. It seemed more like just a simple interlude. Regardless, in terms of the tempo, there wasn't like a whole lot of speed to it. It wasn't too fast. It wasn't too slow. It was just right. It was right at the right moment there. The next song is Jesus, I Have My Doubts, which might sound like a prayer somebody might say before getting to bed, but it struck me as a song about the doubt we have in Christ when the world does stupid things like war, crime, drugs, or perhaps we lost a loved one, or you lost your job for that matter. The song really hits home pretty hard because even though it sounds like it has a nice upbeat feel to it, it comes off as a bit melancholy after you listen to the song a good number of times and you read what the lyrics are. Thanks be to God. The next song on the list is pretty much a gospel kind of song, which would just fit into like any church service, and it would just work perfectly. I'm going to let that one go because that one just really speaks for itself. There's a good amount of scripture within it. For the last 5 songs, let's see what we got. It was The Gift, Weight of the World, Love is the Rebel Song, The Valley of the Shadow of Planned Obsolescence, try saying that 3 times, and Last Words. Each one of them has their own individual message about grieving, hope, perhaps some self-doubt, and love. They each vary in tone and mood. So, for instance, like The Gift or Last Words, they're a bit more melancholy. They're a bit more, maybe a bit on the sad side there. I don't want to say depressing, but it's kind of given like a powerful message about what we would go through when we lost somebody. Whereas songs like The Valley, The Planned Obsolescence, I'm just kind of shorted there, it's pretty long. Or even like Weight of the World, they have a bit of an upbeat feel to it, and they really have like a hopeful message within them. When I was listening to The Valley of the Shadow of the Planned Obsolescence, I got that time. You know what? There was actually a little bit of a Beatles and John Lennon kind of feel to it, and you really like hear like the influences that John was like able to incorporate into the song. He did use a good amount of synthesizers in order to like emphasize the sounds that I mentioned earlier with like the orchestral, the band, and pretty much any other sounds. And every now and again, you would get nice acoustic tones from John as well. So if I had to pick a favorite from this album, I would say Red and Gold. Mainly because I love the message that John was given about faith. It had a nice upbeat feel to it that I was able to enjoy. And I especially love the guitar interlude that he gave in the middle of the song. And the overall quality was very well done. Though I would say Education is a close second. In terms of production, you get very clean vocals, and you don't hear like any of the other instruments like dominating over the other. And pretty much the quality for the finished product is very well done. I couldn't find anything wrong with it, so let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Lyrically, we get to see John's writing prowess at its finest. It seemed like in each song, John would have a powerful message, and it seemed to reflect about the personal struggles that we go through in our lives. For instance, take Jesus, I Have My Doubts, or A Place Called Earth. Each one kind of seems to reflect about like maybe the doubt we have in our minds, or we're trying to like search for that piece of heaven that we all want, but it's hard given the trials and tribulations that life throws at us. Other songs like Education kind of delve into John's personal life. Education seemed to talk about what John learned through his teenage years and what he's still learning today. Pretty much every song had a powerful poetic message, and they really have a strong impact regardless of what your beliefs are. So for the last bit of critique, this is a pretty damn good album. I'm used to the hard rock and metal scenes, especially the rock music that Switchfoot had to offer back then. But every now and again, I'll branch out and see what other artists can do, especially artists that I already know who are doing like these side projects. And you know what? I was very glad that I stumbled upon this album. You really get to see like what John has to offer, both lyrically and musically in this project. He writes very powerful messages about God, grieving, faith, hope, and other things that affect us mentally and spiritually. As I mentioned before, I didn't have any problem with the production. It sounded, the quality of it was pretty damn good too. And you know what? I'm very happy to see like what John has to offer in the future. In conclusion, I would give this album a 9 out of 10. It's not an album that I would turn to every day, but it's one that I would turn to during difficult times or if I need something to lift my mood. John is currently selling this on his website. I'll leave the links down in the description below so you can check it out and see what else he has to offer. I wish you all the best, John, and your journey forward. Take care, brother. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment below about what you guys think about Jon and his newest release. You guys are welcome to share about any new bands that are coming up, or if you're in a band yourself, just let me know in the comments below or on my social media pages. I'll leave those in the description below as well. And if you like, I'll do a music review on them as well. As always, you guys are welcome to subscribe, but make sure you also hit that bell notification so you can see more content like this in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe and stay tuned.